Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Inspired Selling, where I bring together B2B entrepreneurs that are six and seven figure business owners to deliver information to you to help you not just survive, but to thrive in the new normal. In case you haven't been on my show before today, my name is Kathryn Evans, and I'm the owner of the Social Selling Agency. And some people refer to me as the Social Selling Maven. So today, I have as a guest Aaron Wrixon, who has, I'm going to read his bio as I always do so that I don't mess up for anybody. So Aaron won't stop until he has rid the world of everything that is boring, bland, or boilerplate. His agency, Rickson, takes clients from competing in their markets to dominating in their markets. Since the mid-90s, Aaron has been paid for writing well over 6 million words. That's the equivalent of 33 days of the New York Times or 164 copies of Shakespeare's Hamlet. He's written copy for more than 100 companies, 100 different industries in the US, Canada, England, and Australia. Additionally, his mom says he's handsome, and one time he drove slow on the driveway when his dad came to Walbrook. So we'll have to get a little bit more information about that. So I am going to close out my screen, and I'm going to bring on my guest, Aaron.
Hey, how are you doing?
Hi.
That's
welcome.
It's a Rain Man joke.
Oh, it's a Rain Man.
Yeah, that's what Rain Man said. My dad let me drive slow on the driveway one time when he came to Walbrook.
Okay. So now I'm going to have to go back and watch that show and have a cue to play. So, I'm witty. Sometimes I'm slow.
Yeah. Well, there was a time when I was obsessed with Tom Cruise, even more. Those who know me know that I'm obsessed with Nicolas Cage.
Oh.
There was a time that I was obsessed with Tom Cruise, even more.
Okay. Now let's see.
I've seen too many Tom Cruise movies and way too many Nicolas Cage movies.
Well, of course, my favorite, I think, is what's the one where he holds the what is it, an 8-track player or a cassette player? Is that Nicolas Cage?
Yeah. No, that's I think that's John Cusack in Say Anything.
Oh, John Cusack.
Also a good film, where he's standing below the window with
John Cusack
playing Peter Gabriel for the girl that he's trying to win. Yeah.
Okay, well, I just have to admit that I have TV, but I don't watch TV. So don't ever invite me to a trivia movie. We'd lose. I'm telling you now, we'd lose.
Well, you know what? In some ways, I'm like a racer where, they have to eat and eat and eat and eat because they spend so much energy on the racetrack, right? When I write, I'm constantly consuming books and music and movies just to fill my head with stuff, sometimes to get away from all the other things I'm thinking about.
Yes. So that before we go too much farther, Aaron, tell me where you're sitting today. Where are you coming live from?
We are coming live from Rickson Central. This is in a place called Guelph, Ontario. I've got my freaky jazz on the back wall there. I've got my deer painting with some.
Now, see, we talked about that where right where you can move and see. I can do the same thing with my little crown. So
there, I'll do my best to sit here so that it looks like I've got antlers for the rest of it. For those who are listening right now,
yes,
I'm sitting in front of a painting and there's gold antlers that are coming out of my head.
We creatives, people are just like, I can feel the eye rolling happening right now.
All right. I'm happy with that. I leverage that eye rolling. I laugh all the way to the bank on that eye rolling. That works for me.
Okay. So Ontario would be in Canada in case anybody's geographically challenged, like a lot of Americans are.
Not Ontario, California. This is Ontario, Canada.
Okay. And then also, since this is the art of inspired selling, can you tell me, do you have somebody that's most inspiring to you or a most inspirational quote or something that just keeps you driven and focused and helps you wake up every day ready to conquer the day?
It's funny. There was once a boss that I worked for who I hate for every other reason except this one. She was horrible. It was awful. The worst boss that I've ever encountered. However, one time, she said to me a piece of wisdom that has always stuck with me, and that is, there is no one else in this world that is important other than the four people in these walls, me, my wife, and the kids, right? That's why I do everything. This I call this place the house that words built. I wrote this house into existence, and my family and I live here because of that creativity that we were joking about. So it's always very inspiring to get up and sit down in this office, because this is the place that I built by helping other people sell more, by helping people with their headlines and their emails and their sales pages and their websites. I've been able to build this life for which I'm extremely grateful. As far as other people that people know, I will admit a fondness for a set of tapes from Tony Robbins called Personal Power. Whenever I get down, I will go back to those tapes and listen to them again. It's been a long time since I did the homework I'm supposed to do every day, but I do.
Do you do the Tony Robbins priming exercise?
I do not do well. It's funny. It's funny you asked that, because he talks about triggering yourself and doing certain things to get into a state, and I definitely do that with music. There's a CD called The Epic by a guy named Kamasi Washington that I've trained myself to. The second I put that on, it's like, boom, okay, here we go. And it also happens to be like a 3-hour long album. So if I'm going, I could just listen to that thing for 3 hours and then kind of come up like a submarine and say, oh, where have I been?
Well, I do that with study music or inspirational music.
Oh, yeah.
I just put it on, and they have like 3-hour loops, right? That just keep going and going. And that's what I do. I have a little bit of inspirational music as well. I can't have words because that distracts me. So it can only be acoustical for me. Yeah. Okay. So tell me about your business, a little bit about what got you into writing. Do you have a journalism background? Where did you study English in school? What brought you into writing?
In high school, I was always best at English classes. I finished. Well, we had 13th grade up here back in the time. I mean, we've got a whole other year past senior. So in that year of high school, I was pulling like 90s on essays, and so I went to college, and my first essay was a C minus. So I thought, I better learn how to write as far as people are concerned. So I
got the same C minus, and it was in red.
What?
And they wrote across, my TA wrote across the street, your spelling is atrocious.
Well, I'm a suck up, right? I found out that the English professor had a book about how to write. So I went and I read that book, and I started to write like he suggested. So it was funny. It was lit class that taught me how to structure a sentence, how to write an argument. And then I came out of school in the early 90s in the recession, and jobs were crap. And my girlfriend at the time found this little tiny classified ad that said, essentially, come write for us. And I found this company that makes speakers for your stereo, and started writing with them. They gave me a writing test, and they liked what I did, so they were willing to give me a chance. So that's how I got started back in 1994, and worked for them. And then I worked for the government for a long time, the Ontario government up here. And then I worked for, and some of your listeners may be familiar with the bar that regulates lawyers. Well, up in Canada, we have the bar is an advocacy organization, and there's a different organization that regulates the lawyers. So I worked for those guys for a long time too. And then in 2016, I finally quit my day job and turned my side hustle into a full-time thing. And
were you scared when you did that, or did you have enough clients built up?
I was scared for a long time before 2016. I should have left a lot earlier. I probably should have started in 2006. In 2006, I kind of made a deal with the devil and took another internal job at the company that I was at. That was a mistake. In 2011, when I moved to the lawyer regulator, I told myself, okay, you know what? This is the one. I'm going to find out whether I hated that first company or whether I'm just really bad at being an employee. and it turns out I'm bad at being an employee. But by the time 16 rolled around, I had matched my day job salary with my side hustle. So I said, well, forget it. If I'm doing this full time, I can blow 6 figures open. Like, this was a 6-figure day job, and I matched it with the part-time job. So that's when incredible. It became time to quit, right?
Yes.
Like, let's do that so that I can
listen. Everyone that's out there, right? It can happen, especially if you're passionate about what you're doing, right? And you just pour yourself into it, and it's just great. That's what I'm working on myself. So tell me about what you're going to. What's your teachable moment with the audience today as we talk about building buyer trust? What are you going to talk about? I'm going to share the slide in just a second.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, the idea in a nutshell is, and I'll explain why. Trust in institutions is waning. Consequently, the trust that your buyers have in your brand, your company, is also shrinking way down. For obvious reasons, as I said, that I'll get into. And so it becomes a scenario where whether or not somebody knows you and likes you and trusts you becomes make or break when you're trying to sell. You know, whether it doesn't matter whether that's a product in a cart or whether it's an intangible like you and I deal with. If your buyers don't trust you, they're obviously just going to leave. So today we're going to talk briefly about how to build more trust in that relationship. Just the kinds of signals that you can put into your marketing and your copywriting that suggest that you can be trusted, so that when it comes time to do that sales conversation, it's smoother.
Right. And so would you consider yourself as a copywriter or a conversion copywriter? Do you have a sub niche that you like to do or say that you do?
That's the question. That's the question that has defined 2020. My first love is conversion copywriting. I love writing long sales pages, love writing emails, landing pages, these kinds of things. I have yet to have a client that did not try to rip me off. I just lost thousands of dollars again this year when somebody turned tail and fled. So what I have found is the times that I don't get ripped off is when I am bringing conversion copywriting principles to, what can we call it? To straight business, to taking a company like yours and helping improve, for example, their homepage, helping improve their about page so it builds trust, polishing up their emails, selling, creating a sales page for a course that exists. I'm starting to get really, really wary of people that come and say, I've got this $5,000, coaching program that I want to sell into. I want you to write the sales page. I find that the best experiences happen when I can take them back and use my content strategy background and help them set up the strategy for, I've got it up there on my wall. What are the functional benefits? What are the economic benefits? What are the emotional benefits? What are our key messages? What are you the most at? What are you the best at? What are you unique at? Like when I can build those principles into an everyday company's web presence, then we really see success. And I can really make the kind of difference where the people don't, how's that song go? Take the money and run.
So do they feel, so clarify a little, because I'm concentrating heavily in conversion copywriting. I'm working through a course right now on, I just did landing pages, emails, everything. I love it because I'm such a great salesperson. I want to be able to take my real world 30 years of experience in sales person to person and use that as a beautiful thing to do on words as well. So why do you clarify, why do you think that they are ripping you off?
I'm just fishing in the wrong ponds. I'm just, I'm like the kind of people that I've been attracting are the hard sell, let's raise the conversion rate from 3% to 3.2% so that we can make an extra $20,000 and not answer the phone when, people ask for a refund or whatever. I've just been, I mean, it's just superstition. I've been unlucky around people taking advantage of me to the point where I now won't work with somebody unless they will put the fee up front into like a refundable trust. You
Right.
know, we're going to hold this here. It's guaranteed. It's refundable. If you're not happy, I'll give it back to you. But we don't get on this ride until you buy your ticket first, you know,
Right.
and because I've just been burned too many times.
Well,
It's
we
sad,
learn.
but
You learn as you go.
oh yeah,
Right?
you learn.
You
All
learn.
right.
You
I
learn and you
swear to
pivot.
God. I pivoted last year. This is funny. We're recording this in 2020. I'm not sure when you're watching this or listening to this. But in 2019, I said, that's it. Enough's enough. All the time, payment up front now. And it worked really well until the sort of pandemic hit in March. And someone said to me, can we do installment payments? And I thought, sure. You know what? Because if you need to ask me, then yes, we can do that. I'd be happier to have the money than to say no and watch that money walk out the door.
Mm-hmm.
Sure enough, it walked out the door.
So there's your new rule.
Yeah,
Money
my
up
new
front.
rule. But
Okay.
yeah, money up front.
All right. So let's get into your slides so we can talk about how to build buyer trust.
Perfect. I think, I mean, it's hard because things these days are I mean, to say there's been like turmoil lately
It's an understatement, right?
is an understatement.
Yes.
Exactly. Like we are, that curse that says, may you live in interesting times. We are definitely living in interesting times. Just, if you did the highlight reel of even the first half of 2020, right? You had, 1 million people marching in protest in Hong Kong and bushfires in Australia. And then the president of the United States was impeached and then acquitted. And just after that, we started to hear of the novel coronavirus. The Dow Jones crashed. That dragged all the stock markets down. We started to get the true sense of the pandemic by that point. April was like, what happened to April? Because we all spent the whole month in our houses, and now we're up around like 15 million at the time that we're recording. 15 million cases of COVID worldwide, and all this sort of pent up societal anger around systemic racism, and I always joke that there was a partial solar eclipse visible in parts of Canada, but not in my area, which is just as well, because I spent the month hiding under my bed. It's crazy, right? So like given everything that has happened this year, to say nothing of what may come in the rest of 2020 or 21,
Mm-hmm.
it's no surprise then that trust in institutions like government and law enforcement and media is shrinking essentially, because I don't think anybody would say that these institutions have sort of credibly been, or capably handling these crises, right? We're getting through them. Some are doing better than others, but all in all, people are starting to get really antsy. I found some newspaper quotes I wanted to read to you. Pew Research Group says Americans are seeing declining levels of trust in the country. Atlantic says trust is collapsing in America. Washington Post says Americans have lost faith in institutions. NHK World has Japanese losing their trust for politics. The Guardian says public trust in the UK government is falling sharply because of this crisis. So if you look at brand trust, it's starting to shrink too. Like, I mean, by brand trust, I mean trust in your company,
Mm-hmm.
right? Across the board, trust in companies is starting to shrink. And I'm sure if customers and clients don't trust you, then you have a problem. And that problem is essentially they're simply not going to buy from you. There's a thing called the Edelman Brand Trust Report. I'm reading again. I want to make sure that I get this 2 quotes right. Edelman does this brand trust barometer, or trust barometer rather, of a survey of how much people trust things like the police and government and companies, right? And recently, they just did a brand trust barometer. They put out this special report in June of 2020 on how much people trust brands. 53% of people say that whether you trust the company that owns the brand or the brand that makes the product is the second most important factor when purchasing. That's second. The only thing that's second to is price.
Interesting.
Right? So 64% of people say price is the most important. More than half say trust is important.
So are you going to show us how to build that trust?
Exactly, yes.
Okay.
I will get to that. I want to read this one quote. This is from the same Edelman thing, okay? It's not enough for brands to issue a statement or make an emotional ad. Consumers expect that brands will act and advocate on personal and societal issues that affect their lives. Trust is now the make or break difference for brands. That's definitely what I want to talk about today.
Okay.
Because when they stop trusting you, their wallet slams shut. So what do you do to try to fix that, right?
And don't you think that most, I'll speak to the entrepreneurs that I interact with, they start talking about the first thing they want to do is drop prices, right? They think that if they just discount their pricing, that they will get somebody to come in, or then they just start giving things for free.
Yes.
Because I don't know if that's an American, a female thing, but oh, this isn't the time I should be charging money, that I'm just going to give. I mean, that's the whole reason this whole Livestream started, is what can I do to give to my community, right? Yeah. How can I give back? What can I do? And so that's not always the answer.
No, I think
because people have money. Some people still have money.
Yes, I am a testament to that. I mean, in the middle of July 20 has been my best month in a year, which is, again, I'm truly grateful for that. But it's also a testament to the fact that there are people out there that do have cash and that want to spend it. Mm-hmm. And if you do not feel that you are worthy of money right now, I think that's a mindset issue that you should go and take a look at, because you're always worthy of money. Mm-hmm. If you are, maybe you need to get in touch with the value that you provide. Maybe you need to stop thinking of yourself as a doer and more of a partner. But there's a difference between the kind of helping that you're doing with this live stream and the kind of helping you're doing that you should be paid for. And if buyers don't trust the news, if they don't trust your coughing neighbor, they are not, simply discounting your price is not going to make them trust you. If you used to charge $2,000 for an engagement and now you're giving the COVID special $1,000, doesn't matter. If they don't know the value of that $1,000 or $2,000, they're still not going to buy from you. You could give it away for free, I guess, to convince people, but then you'd be doing yourself a disservice, right? The thing that I've been thinking about is with this need for trust and my love of acronyms, I have found 5 things that you can introduce to your marketing that coincidentally spell out trust.
Should I go to the first slide?
For sure, let's do it. The first one is truth, as in always tell it. There's a kind of copywriting out there. I think I kind of alluded to it in my frustration with the industry, with the yellow highlighters and the flashing boxes and the big red headlines and the screamy kind of false scarcity that just feels scammy and untruthful. And I think it's time, with all this uncertainty in the air, that those dubious claims and the false scarcity, they go out of style super fast. As confusion and panic creep into the national conversation, people need sanity, and they need reassurance. And you can say things like, my productivity methods can help you find extra time in your busy work week, and for that you should pay me $7.95 for this course or whatever. But if your messaging is it talks about doubling their business in 2 hours a week, that's going to fall on deaf ears because it sounds like a scam, right? as a society, we are processing more information than ever. And these days it's a lot about doom and gloom, which, can I swear on your live stream? Or
Yeah. Yes.
Our bullshit detectors are super fine-tuned now, right? So simply telling the truth in your marketing, being truthful, can be a differentiator. It can be a refreshing burst of that kind of sanity that people want in a sea of scam and junk.
Mm-hmm.
The next is the R. The R stands for respect. This is just simple, like, this is be human, right? Please have some respect for your buyers.
Mm-hmm.
You can find advice online that will tell you that playing to fear is the way to sell more. But what we need to remember, I think, is that we're all in this together. If we keep our buyers' best interests in mind and we keep their well-being at heart, then we can focus more clearly on creating what I call conscious conversions. Like you and I both are interested in creating more conversions,
Mm-hmm.
but not at the expense of our buyers, right? We don't want to use our buyers as a means to an end. We don't want to turn them upside down and shake out their pockets, right? We want to remember that they are both a means and an end. They are the reason that we are making money, and they're the reason we're in business. So if we keep that in mind and treat them with respect, again, they will smell that.
What is your thought on, and I don't know which acronym this or which letter this would fall in, but so people buy from you when they have respect for you, right? But then you give that respect back, and in a point where you over deliver because you know that person needs assistance. They came to you as the expert, and you see an area where you can over deliver. Would you consider that as respecting them, or which area would that fall in?
I feel like it's a great question. It is definitely about respect. It's also, I think, at a stage where you've already earned enough of their trust in order that they've bought from you, right? Mm-hmm. I'm all for over delivering when it comes to producing, when it comes to creating that writing. Sure, here's an extra FAQ page because I had the time. Or you know what? Why not? Show me those emails. I'll look at them for free because I'm already writing your sales page, and we might as well make sure that the emails reflect what's on the sales page. Mm-hmm. For me, I think the sale is won or lost on whether you can demonstrate respect before they pull out that checkbook, right? I don't want to I don't want to get all golden rule or whatever, but if you demonstrate the kinds of moral principles in your marketing that you would like other people to use with you, that's a really good place to start. Mm-hmm. I think you can then continue that through a very respectful sales conversation, through a respectful give and take two-way fulfillment method, aftercare, following up and reselling 3 months later or 6 months later, or even in the perfect world, becoming friends with these people and building a business based on the kind of people you'd like to have over for a backyard barbecue.
Yes. That's strongly how I do business.
Yeah,
sure.
That's a quote straight out of the mouth of my friend and mentor Brent Weaver. He runs a training company for web agencies in Denver, Colorado. And he talks about that. He talks about you really want to build a business full of people that you'd have over for dinner because it really is the happiest life. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's a lesson that I've learned difficultly this year. Moving on to you instead of me.
I don't know, you and us, same letter.
Okay. Instead of me complaining once more, let's talk about you.
This is the art of inspired selling, Aaron. We're inspiring people. We want them jumping up and down.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misheard you. I thought it was uninspired selling. That's what I brought to the table.
They're gonna start smoking a bowl on Friday afternoon here.
I would like to say, for the record, this is iced tea. I'm not drinking 4 fingers of scotch in front of you, just in case
You could.
in case your viewers are curious. U is for understanding. That's a simple one, right? That means please have some understanding. Do some thinking about where buyers are these days, about what's going on in their minds. Consider how nervous they might normally be to buy your solution, and give them a break if they're more nervous than usual because they're convinced, I don't know, they see recession clouds on the horizon, or they're worried about the pandemic or whatever. They are people, and they're going through the same stuff that we're all going through right now, right? So if you socked away breakfast cereal or loaded up on toilet paper because you were worried you wouldn't be able to get any, they're in the same place too. And so as we all in 2020 and beyond get trained to be more careful about our money, more careful about our employment situation, more careful about our health and our financial vulnerability, people are going to put a lot more prudence into making buying decisions. So by understanding that and holding their hand through your sales process, you'll do wonders.
Yes. Okay.
We can move on to the S. I'm trying to be mindful of the time. I could probably ramble on this stuff for a long time, but I'm trying to move through it quickly.
I'm good at cutting you off. So
perfect.
I gotcha.
You're trained at this stuff now, are you?
Yes.
S is for sincerity, not for shut up, Aaron, and get on to the next point.
Smile. It's for smile.
S is for smile. S is for keep your word. Do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. I mean, this stuff is business 101, but being sincere is really what I feel is necessary in 2020, in 21 and 22. And I think things have changed now, and we're in a new era of business where as much as we're technologically enabled to work with people around the world, it wasn't that long ago that people were doing business with a handshake over a back fence, right? I would love to get us back to that. And that means not sort of fudging on product details or delivery terms and cutting corners in your sales process. Maybe trying to build more trust checkpoints into that same sales process, right? Maybe checking in and saying, how do you feel? How are you feeling? Let's talk about this. I don't want people to just assume that their buyers know they do honest business, right? There's nothing wrong with telling them.
And so when you say that, you're talking about saying that through your words on a page?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
It's time to, there's nothing wrong with being sincere and direct and honest in your, in your copy and your marketing materials. I work with a guy named Josh Steinley, who I like a ton. And he, launched a high-priced published author masterclass. It's expensive. It's, thousands a month. And he said straight up, look at, if this is not for you, stick around with this meeting and the next meeting. If it's not for you, just cancel. Because number one, you need to commit, and I want you to finish this book that you're dreaming of. So either drop out now when you're having doubts, or stick with me till the end. It's not going to do you any good to do 6 months worth of work and then drop out. But number two, that refund period is 14 days. So make your decision now. Because after 14 days, there will be no refunds. And people are applauding him for it. They're all over the Facebook group going, oh my God, that was so real and so refreshing and so sincere. And I think it's perfectly okay to be straight up in business dealings. There's this culture almost out there on the internet that you have to always be on the take or always be trying to hide your real intentions. And I think that what we need to get back to is that realness, that sincerity.
Yes. This seems to be a theme, because my guest on Wednesday, we had the same conversation is, how do you show up genuine? Showing up in person for field salespeople. And
Thank you for attending Authenticity Week on the Art of Inspired Selling.
that, I'm attracting people. It's that whole thing. It's my words that I'm getting people out there for.
Well, I think that's why you and I, enjoy each other's company, because we both feel the same way. Right?
But I 100%, I agree on this sincerity, because if you're my client, I hope that you believe that as well. I'm sincere. I've done some brand archetyping, and I'm also an outlaw. So at times I'm sincere. That looks like shit. Or your LinkedIn profile you just paid somebody for sucks. We really need to do it. Yeah. Like, it's all about you. So
I am mostly a ruler brand and a rebel mixed in there, or a ruler brand and a jester rather.
Okay.
Hence you see the bragging about the 100 industries I worked in, and then the Rain Man joke. Right?
Yes. So I am wizard and magician and outlaw, which are really kind of interesting. Like, I'll lure you in, and then I'll just tell you how it is once we get there. I'm not sure, but my heart is definitely magician. It's my mouth that's the outlaw.
You know what? I'm going to take a brief detour. I've got a cool book to show your audience. Okay. If they have no idea what we're talking about, which is possible. Mm-hmm. Here is an incredible book.
All my clients go through brand archetyping.
Archetypes and branding. I love this book. And they've got there's a whole pile of cards in the back that I punched out.
Oh, fun.
It's really cool. There's 64 brands in there. And if nothing else, you can play tarot cards with the thing and figure out what you feel like you are today.
Well, and there's books about that, right? In negotiations, you take on different brands, different brand archetypes in different situations. And I don't remember the book. I have it on Audible. So I've listened to that as well. And I'd really like to create my own social selling brand archetype system.
That would be really. I would love to read that.
You want to work on that together, Aaron?
I challenge you to do it. Yeah,
I've got it laid out. I've got it laid out. I just have to act on it. Okay, so let's move on to trustworthiness.
Trustworthiness is the last one, and that's the simplest of all. People will not trust you if they don't feel you're worthy of that trust. Now, what happens the second you say, "Trust me"? People don't, right? So. This is where you can use social proof, testimonials, case studies, reviews, logo bars, all that good stuff. It's sort of the least, it's the thing you can do the least with your writing, but it's just as important to put in things like sales pages and emails, because, people do what others do, mm-hmm. and they rely on others for quick judgments, right? Like, if you I don't know if you've ever seen a group of 4 pranksters stand out on a corner and point up at a building. The number of people that'll walk by and try to see what they're looking at. It's just how we are as humans, right? So if you've got social proof that's saying, Kathryn was great, working with her transformed my business, 5 stars to Kathryn, over and over and over and over and over again, that's going to do wonders to build that trustworthiness and to cap off that.
And there's 2 things that I want to comment on that with a social proof, because some people need to be coached when they're giving testimonials, because mm-hmm. they need to be able to articulate what was the outcome of working with me. So remember that, people, when you're asking for testimonials, you don't want to say, "Oh, Kathryn's so great. I love her llama corns. I love her dogs, stars and flowers, emoji, kiss, kiss." That's right. That's not going to help somebody make a decision on whether or not they want to work with you. So you need to coach your clients on the testimonials, which will say what's the outcome they received. If there's any statistics that they grew my business by this, or we were able to conquer this, then you can reposition those testimonials in your copy as well. Yeah,
that's true. Exactly. Right? You can work them into your LinkedIn profile. You can work them into your About page. You can work them mm-hmm. into a dedicated testimonial page or a slider on the homepage. They're just liquid gold, those things.
And then the other thing, now that I'm becoming more aware with my education in copywriting, is that I've now seen people that kind of misuse, if you will, their mm-hmm. testimonials, where you can also have testimonials kind of turn on you, where it becomes, you become the hero in the story with, "Look how great I am."
Yes.
instead of strategically placing your testimonials where you're driving home a point you're trying to make on a landing page or on a statement that you made, why, and the statement I'm making is validated by the social proof here,
Yes.
instead of a book of how wonderful you are. So
those are my favorite. Those are my favorite scenarios where I can write a sales page, and I happen to have enough client testimonials that I can use different ones to reinforce different things that we just wrote. You know, for that client, it's so awesome. That's when you feel like you're chugging on all cylinders, right? It's a good feeling. It's funny, testimonials. I mean, they can be abused for sure, because of the way that people are. They don't even really have to be, well, I'm betraying secrets now, but they don't even really have to be credible. People will put stock in them, even despite I could put a testimonial from my mom on my website. And because that was there, like they wouldn't even care that it had the same last name, right? It's just people see it and they go, oh, he must know what he's doing.
But that's just good. That's a bit of coaching for people that are starting out, right? There's been a lot of people that are pivoting from employee to entrepreneur today, and they might not have a lot of testimonials, so they can gather them quickly by talking to people. Tell me a little bit about why you worked with me. Tell me about this.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, if you have listeners or viewers that are in that exact situation, hear me now. No, it does not matter that these people worked with you in your
day job. Yes.
If they're saying that you were conscientious and responsible and they would trust you, those testimonials are gold. It does not matter that they came from your day job and you're now trying to launch this side hustle.
And then I'll even put that over into, that's why it's so important to people to understand your personal brand and understand your authenticity and make sure it shows up in everything that you do. Because if you weren't being true in your day job, then maybe you can't use them, you know, if you just did things because, you know.
If you were there only to steal the office supplies, maybe you should probably not give the testimonial.
You have all the office toilet paper in your garage.
Man. So there you have it. TRUST. That's how you spell trust, and that's how you can, if you think about those 5 things as you write your stuff, you can do a lot more to make sales easier. Now, obviously, that's a huge URL there. I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm saying, go ahead. If you have questions, reach out to you, Kathryn, or to me at my website and drop them in there, and I'd happily answer them for you.
Yes. Yes. And, you know, people will comment later and we'll be able to answer those comments. We'll go in. And so I'd like to give you just a little bit of plug. So tell people how you're making your income now. You said you're writing, are you creating funnels? Are you doing nurturing email campaigns? And if we're speaking non-English to people, I'm forgetting, you know, now that I'm starting to get into the trade so much, I'm used to, I don't want to use acronyms. I remember where I came from, which is what the hell is a funnel? I used to pour my big giant oil into a little oil thing, right? Or something. That's the only funnel I know about. So it's not so mysterious, right?
Right. Well, the way that I talk about it for the people that are, you know, challenged by it is if I'm making a sandwich over here, for me, the meat in the sandwich is going to be writing websites. It's what I do the most of. That's the meat in the sandwich. The bread in that sandwich is the strategy piece behind that, right? So while I don't typically say, I will prepare this strategy for you, what often happens is when we come and start talking about a website, we will then take a step back and say, okay, let's work on strategy as well to make sure that we know who you are as a company, what you're talking about, what we want to say and why. So that's the sandwich. The rest of the toppings on that sandwich, the filling, are the other kinds of things that I do. Once we have the strategy and the website content, then what? Well, we need a way to keep in touch with people. So that's emails. We need a way to build our authority. Maybe that's blogs or LinkedIn articles.
And authority would be online domain authority.
Yeah, exactly. Not necessarily domain authority, although that's a good point too.
Yeah.
Domain authority being Google loving your website. I mean, specifically, it's much easier to sell when you are an authority. People see you doing this live stream 2 or 3 times a week, and they think, gosh, Kathryn must really have her shit together. They maybe see me and say, he's written 6 million words. He must really know how to write. Either that or he just barfs on the keyboard, like that GIF that you used of me of Jim Carrey in the promo email. So that's the kind of authority that I'm talking about, where you're putting your thoughts out and you're saying, look, I know what I'm talking about. I'm not trying to sell you. I'm trying to demonstrate to you that I'm an expert.
Mm-hmm.
People gravitate towards experts. Then when you've got enough of that, it comes time to stop doing the one-to-one work and start selling one-to-many. So I'll help people with books or courses. And of course, once you have a book or a course, you need it sold. And so I'll help people with that too. And that's a sales page and sales emails and so on and so forth. You know, anytime you've ever gotten an email about, hey, we're launching a course, that's the kind of stuff that I do.
Yep. So conversion copywriting is a new term for people, right? Maybe they haven't heard about that, but
we talked about that without even defining what a conversion is. It's that snap of the fingers when somebody turns from something into something else, whether they turn from a reader into a subscriber, or a subscriber into a buyer, or a buyer into a rabid fan and a proselytizer, you know, or a donator, or a, you know, miscreant who doesn't pay their bills. I guess that's conversion too. You can tell that I'm like obsessed with this today, because I'm literally, for the first time in my entire career, thinking about sending somebody to collections. And I hate that. I don't want to be in that space. But I'm like, ugh, maybe that's where it's got to go, right? Maybe.
Yeah, you know, authentic people need to work with other authentic people.
Yes. If you're watching this and you're an authentic person,
come our way.
Come our way. Come reach out and say hello, because I'm tired of the flakes and the ripoff artists.
Yes. Okay, you guys. Well, I think I'm going to wrap this up, and I want to thank you, Aaron, for being here. You guys have seen his website is Rickson.com. Do you have any pricing on that site in case people have no idea what it would cost to work with you?
About $3 million. Yeah,
$3 million.
Yeah.
Okay. So $3 million will get you a landing page that might sell something.
That's right. It might sell something. Yeah. No, for what it's worth, you can get you can typically get strategy and a basic website done for $5,000.
Okay. And you know, whole nother subject, whole nother topic, website copy. You know, that's a whole long, maybe we should do a webinar on that.
Maybe we'll do the art of inspired web copy.
Yeah, the art of inspired web copy. What not to say.
What not to say when you're trying to sell your Lamacorn paintings, right?
Yes. And somebody will say, let me just stop you there. Just don't do it.
I can't believe I said llama again.
Llama.
We talked a while ago about how I've started saying llama just to irritate my kids, and now I can't break myself of the habit.
Oh my gosh. So I don't know if I can should show it now. I have a new Lamacorn backdrop.
Oh, very nice.
And it's hanging so that the wrinkles will get out of it. But I'm crazy obsessed. I don't know why.
I will admit, usually when I do something like this on video, I stare at my own face. But I've been staring at the little Lamacorn peeking out between the two of our faces there.
Yes, she's so cute. Her name's Frida. Okay, we're totally sidetracked, you guys. We've given us a lot of time. So thank you so much. Next week, I have new guests that will be coming. I don't have my sheet in front of you to tell you who they are, but please stay tuned.
I'm sure they'll be fabulous.
Yeah, subscribe on my YouTube channel, which is The Social Selling Maven, Facebook, which is also The Social Selling Maven. You can find me on Twitter at Time to Focus. I'm here. I'm here to help you, to support you, and to help you be your best version of yourself and to sell more stuff. So take care. Stay on, Aaron. When I log off, we could still talk for a sec.
Perfect.
Thanks so much, everybody. Take care. Oh yeah, and have a great weekend.